Picture this. You're on your way home from work and you're extremely hungry. You get home, you walk through the door, and to your surprise, there's dinner. And a further surprise is it was your turn to cook. Wow, you appreciate your partner even more. So excitedly, you sit down and you dig in to have that first bite to savor that chicken. And something doesn't taste right. Actually, now that you think about it, it hasn't tasted right the last couple times your partner has made something for you. And of course, at that moment, your partner looks at you and says, "So, how does it taste?" How do you respond? Have you ever been in that situation? Or perhaps it's similar to the situations that some of the HR professionals that have attended our workshop have shared with us. You have that employee that's consistently underperforming or consistently arriving late. What do you do? Or perhaps it's like some of our other participants, in which they're in a negotiation and the other side presents an offer that is way below what they expected. How do you respond? You have an option to respond with criticism or feedback. Now, why is this even important? Well, if your goal is to improve the situation, then likely you'll want to determine whether it's better to give criticism or feedback. Is there a difference though? Well, criticism is defined as the expression of disapproval of something or someone on the basis of perceived faults or mistakes. Feedback is defined as information about action to a product or person's performance, which is used as a basis for improvement. Clearly, there's a difference. Criticism aims to push the person down. Feedback aims to pull the person up. Criticism says, "You messed up, what's wrong with you?" Feedback says, "This is how your behavior landed for me. Was that your intent? How can we work together to improve the situation?" Criticism keeps you in the past. Feedback helps you to move forward. Understanding this is important as we assess situations and people's performance. If in a negotiation, the other side presents you with an offer that is not at all close to what you expected, feedback says you share how it landed with you. Feedback says you work with them to see how you can improve the offer. Criticism says you criticize that offer, tell them why it's awful. And if you're not careful, by criticizing that offer, you'll also be criticizing them. After all, they're the ones that came up with it. When you look at studies of criticism and how it affects our brain function, while there's not that many studies out there, a recent study was done in King's College in London, England. And it shared and said that listening to criticism activates brain areas involved in the cognitive control over negative emotions. Think about that. Criticizing somebody triggers that part that controls negative emotion in their brain. Is that what we want in negotiation? Is that what we want in the workplace? Now let's be clear. Not giving criticism is not the same as not being critical. We need to use our critical thinking skills. We need to critically evaluate proposals that come to us, the pros, the cons, the merits, an employee's performance. We need to have and use our critical thinking skills. It's when we criticize the individual that poses a problem. And let's be clear about feedback. Feedback is not aimed to make the person feel better. It's to help them do better. So how do we know if we're giving criticism or feedback? Well, here are a few tips. 1, be specific. If the chicken tasted salty, say the chicken tasted salty. Not that the whole meal was awful. Number 2, avoid judgment or interpretation. If the chicken tasted salty, it doesn't mean that your partner can't cook. If the employee was consistently late, it doesn't mean that they don't care about their job or you. If that offer you received in negotiation was a lot lower than you expected, it doesn't mean they're trying to disrespect you. Number 3, ensure the feedback you give is timely. Feedback given closer to the event is more effective than if it's given a month, a week, a year later. And finally, be sincere. Let your partner, your employees, your colleagues, whoever that you're providing this feedback to, know that you have their best interests at heart. You see, the way I see it, feedback is meant to do what the first part of the word says, feed. So let's feed each other with ways to improve. Let's nourish each other with ideas and thoughts to get better. And let's do it in a way that's digestible so that they can absorb the nutrients and grow. Now it's your turn. Provide me with some feedback.